Hello, hello, my friend. I'm the Hunter here with another live stream this beautiful Saturday here. Cloudy day. I love cloudy and rainy days, by the way. This time around, we're going to be checking out two cool new free plugins or new free promotions and a couple of interesting deals that I think you're going to love as much as I do. We are going to be checking out this free channel strip by Analog Obsession, the Channev. It's pretty famous already. It had an update, and I'm going to talk about it here to the version 2.0. The next freebie on the list for a limited time, Bedroom Producer Blog, it's giving away for free some copies, like thousands of copies, but they are ending pretty quick. So go ahead and be fast, be quick about it because they are going fast. This is Animate, but mastering the mix. But in case that you don't get it, there is also a promotion at Plugin Boutique where you can get it for free if you purchase the limiter by the same company as well. But you would have to purchase the limiter and get the free copy of Animate. But you can still get it at Bedroom Producer Blog for free. The next deal here at Plugin Boutique, this Drumstrip or channel strip for drums by Solid State Logic, which currently has an 80% off. So pretty affordable for the amount of features that it has, I think. And the other pretty cool and amazing deal that I found here at Audio Plugin Deals by Black Salt Audio, the low control allows you to control the low end of any element on your mix, individual groups, or even in the mix bus or mastering. So pretty cool. It has also an 80% off here at Audio Plugin Deals. Before we begin with the content, I'd like to invite you quickly to my website, amnorhunter.com, where I have some additional freebies, such as some free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers and guitar players about mixing with free plugins, about how to make more music in less time. Also, productivity hacks for your home studio. Additionally, I have some tools such as some collections of guitar impulses, a drum sample pack for rock and metal sound, among other utilities. And finally, don't forget to check out the blog or this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free content and music production tutorials and freebies. Let me know if you are here in the chat. I will be very happy to answer some of your questions or read some of your comments if you are here live with me, or if you're watching this live stream afterwards, I will be happy also to respond to your comments. Let's go to my session here. I have a metal mix this time around. This is a new mix that I use on this channel, and this is the first plugin. I'm gonna use it on drums first. This freebie by Mastering the Mix in partnership with Bedroom Producer Blog. This is the Animate, and it includes 4 different processors in one. First, it's expansion. So it's the opposite of compression. Compression reduces the dynamic range, and expansion make the dynamic range bigger, right? The peaks and valleys become farther away from each other, the opposite to compression. It can work in some percussive elements, as we are gonna check out in a moment, and each one of these modules have other individual features, such as here, for instance, the knee, soft and hard knee, so it's more aggressive and more soft here at the right. The ratio also, you can control it here, and you can also have control over the attack, which I think it's pretty cool because you see the like the waveform, right? Like if you set a slower attack, this is like an ADSR in other plugins, synthesizers, things like that, where you can visually see the attack and the release, the tail, right? The body of the signal. So fast release, slow release. I thought it was pretty cool way of putting these controls, and you start to introduce the expansion with this main control in the center. You have an input and output, and you have also the threshold here, and you can also filter which frequencies you want to expand with this. And here you have the punch, which it's the opposite. It introduces compression, right? And this has a sensitivity knob, also an attack and release, and all of these modules also you can listen to them isolated, only what the processor is doing in that specific part of this plugin. The next module, it's the Ignite, and it introduces harmonic saturation and distortion in a pleasant way. With this, you can also filter what range of the frequencies you want to affect. So you can affect the whole frequency range from 20 hertz and above, or you can put this more narrower. You have also a threshold and an input and output. And for the saturation also you have a attack and release control. That last one, it's a grow. This will spread the signal in the stereo spectrum, stereo field. So you will hear the things more open in the stereo spectrum. Be careful with this, because if you use it too much, you can lose the center of things. But if you want things to be like focused on the sides, you can use it or exaggerate it as much as you want. But be careful to use it on the full mix, for instance, on the kick drum or the snare, because you might end up with some phase issues with this. So let's use it on these drums. Let's start with the expansion. Listening only the expansion. Slower release time for drums and faster, slower attack and faster release. Alright, let's move on with the compressor. Let's turn off this one. So add more punch. You will achieve that with slow attack time, fast release time. Yeah, more punch. Before, after. And this control allows you to set the output. Also, the plugin, it's analyzing the output so that it matches the input, right? If you click here, it automatically compensates. Let's add some saturation with the Ignite module. Let's, for instance, saturate the mid-range only. Let's leave out the sub-lows. Alright, then finally let's use the stereo expansion. Right, you start to lose the center. You see, the more you increase the one of these processors, it starts to lower this control in the output. It could be cool, this expansion for guitar solos, for instance, spread them a bit, backing vocals, maybe the lead vocal in some instances as well. Alright, let's use it here on this vocal track.
The light ideas! On the blind! What a difference one night makes! The path I take! On the blind! There's a difference into your face! It's in my face!
In the center.
I want out of this place! It's in my face! There's a difference into your face! The light ideas! On the blind! What a difference!
Alright, that's the Animate by Mastering the Mix. Let's go with the next freebie by Analog Obsession, the Channev 2. This plugin, the updates on this version 2 were fixed some bugs that this plugin had, some minor issues and problems. And also you can resize the plugin. You can make it bigger or smaller. Also, you can use it now on Pro Tools if you are a user of AAX format plugins. And also Apple Silicon have support now for Analog Obsession plugins, including this one. This includes different processors, so it's a channel strip. Pretty much all that you can need, right? And it also has some inspired in the Neve console as well. So it has 3 stages of saturation here with the mic, preamp and line, also coloration and saturation, and the drive here in the last part of the plugin. You have here an equalizer first with a couple of filters, a high pass, low pass. Also, you add some frequencies in the form of a low shelf and high shelf. You can add here some decibels. Also, it has a de-esser that works great for cymbals or vocals with a lot of sibilances, things like that. You can use a softer de-esser or a harder de-esser. With the threshold, you start to reduce it and you start to notice the gain reduction here. This is the release, and it has a built-in attack time and a dry wet functionality. After this, we have the equalizer section that includes 4 bands with also additional high pass filters and low pass here. And then we move on with the bells, right? Here you choose the frequency in the lows from 33 to 330 hertz, and you boost or cut with this. By default, it's as a low shelf, like this small figure, and you can use it as bell curve instead of a low shelf by clicking on this button. Here we move on with the low mids from 220 all the way up to 1.2 kilohertz. You boost or cut with this in the form of a bell curve, and you can use a high Q or a narrower curve with this. And also in the high mids or mids highs, from 1.5 kilohertz all the way up to 9.2 kilohertz boost or cut, and also high Q, or a much wider Q curve. And finally, the higher frequencies from 3.3K all the way up to 15K, also boost or cut, and a bell curve instead of a high shelf like it's by default. Afterwards, we have the compressor with usual controls such as threshold. You start to see the gain reduction depending on the ratio that you set. Then the release time from slower 100 milliseconds to 1000 milliseconds, pretty slow, and it has a fixed attack time as well. Then the gain and the dry wet functionality. This gain control is to compensate any volume that you might lose in the compression. And finally, a limiter, a compressor more aggressive with a faster attack time, and yeah, it has a built-in infinite ratio to limit. It can helps to control even more the dynamics of any signal, drums, or even in the whole mix. So release time from fast to slow, the gain to compensate, makeup gain, and the dry wet functionality, and a master output control. Here's the routing of the plugin, right? So it starts here at the top, then the de-esser, the equalizer, the compressor, and finally the limiter, and finally hits this tape saturation at the end. Let's use it on this drums as well. Let's see what this plugin can do, or hear. Let's add some saturation first. Sorry. It adds some character, right? You can use it subtly first. A ton of saturation, right? Let's boost here with a bell at around 80 hertz. Let's remove 500 hertz. And let's add some here around 7-8K with a high shelf to add brightness to the cymbals. Before let's add compression. Yeah, pretty saturated and compressed, but in a musical way, I think. And the limiter. You can pretty much crush the audio. Let's use it just to control the higher peaks. Let's compensate. Let's back off the saturation a bit. Cool. So let's use it quickly here on these vocals. Some screaming vocals. Let's add saturation.
What a difference one night makes! The path I take! There's a difference in you!
Let's remove some lows.
The light I chase! What a difference one night makes! The path I take! There's a difference in your face! It's in my face!
Alright, and compress.
The light I chase! What a difference one night makes! The path I take!
Before.
There's a difference in your face! It's in my face! I want out of this place!
Super controlled vocals.
The light I chase! What a difference!
With a touch of character, right? Coloration.
The light I chase! What a difference one night makes! The path I take! There's a difference in your face!
Don't be scared to really control the vocals. They are very dynamic and they will sit better in a mix if they are compressed, sometimes heavily. You're not gonna kill all of the dynamics, but you need to have it under control. So pretty cool, yeah. Let's move on with the first paid plugin on this list. The SSL native Drumstrip by Solid State Logic. A pretty complete channel strip for drums mostly. So first you have a gate, and you can close or open the gate here, and pretty cool that it shows here when we have sound. You're gonna see the signal coming in, and you choose where to close and open the gate. It could be very useful for snares sometimes. The snare microphone, it's having all of the bleed from other parts of the drum kit. Sometimes the kick drum, the cymbals, the hi-hat. So with this we can control that. I'm gonna use it on a snare drum to show you this example. You turn it off or turn it on here. Turn it on. You have a hold for more control over the tail when the gate comes back, right? When it opens again. The attack and release. Faster attack here. I'm sorry, fast attack to the left and less fast attack to the right. Then the release, also faster release and slower release. Then you have the transient shaper that will introduce a lot of punch to the initial spike, initial impact of the drum transients, right? So it adds attack. It can add a ton of punch, and you would need also a limiter or clipper just to prevent some peaks jumping all over the place. Be careful with the transient shaper, because it really can put the compressors out of control because of too many attack of the transients. So you select the amount of attack or transient and the speed. This is the release, like faster release time, slower release time. And you have also a gain to compensate. You can listen only what this processor is doing, and this will invert, will make a less aggressive transient shaper by clicking on invert. Then we move on to the EQ section with a low frequency enhancer and high frequency enhancer that adds low and high harmonics based on the SSL console, the 4000E. You add the harmonics by using the amount knob, and you also select the drive and the frequencies where you want to add more harmonics. It adds second and third order harmonics, both of these controls. And finally, a compressor. It's called Listen Mic Compressor, also based on that console, and you can use the compressor in a narrow band, so it doesn't compresses the whole part of the frequency spectrum. It narrows to a mid-range band, the compression. So you add compression with this comp, you make up for the gain that you can lose with the compression and the dry-wet functionality, and a master dry-wet and output control here. You can also switch the order of how these processors are following, like gate first, the transient shaper, the high frequency or low frequency first, and compressor at the end. This is the order that it's by default, and I found it to be useful. It includes some presets also for different applications. Let's use it on this drums as well. Let's use it first on this snare drum, so you can listen what the gate does to the signal. So there you have some cymbals, right, and kick. Let's turn on the gate. Let's experiment with open and close. Let's have I'm sorry. All right. Let's have only the snare drum sound, right? Faster attack time. We need a slower. Okay. This hold needs to be faster. Before. Okay, we have more snare there. Faster attack time. So that's the gate, and let's use the rest of this plugin on the drum bus. Let's use the transient shaper to add more punch. Be careful with the output. That's the transient, the impact that it's adding. It's increasing the impact. Yeah, it's easy to overdo it. Before. Alright, that's the transient shaper. Let's use the low frequencies and high frequency enhancer. Some low harmonics. High frequency harmonics. Some sizzle in the overheads and cymbals. And the compressor. You introduce compression with this. Before. More punch, right? It's a narrow band compression. Dry wet. Let's use before. All right, that's sorry, that's the Drumstrip by SSL. Let's move on with the last paid plugin of this list. One of my favorites actually from this list, this Low Control by Black Salt Audio. This works to control the low end in a very easy way. Let's use it on this bass. First, you have a threshold here, which will indicate the compressor where to start compressing, and you choose the frequency to compress from that frequency and below, right? So you have till 250 to compress, and so everything from this point and below will be compressed by the threshold that you indicate. You're gonna see here the gain reduction, the compression happening. You can boost the low gain here. If you lost some volume with the compression, you can compensate, right? It's like a makeup gain. If you double click any control, it resets by default. And you have also an enhancer that adds harmonics in the low end. You choose here if you want to enhance a certain number or a frequency range here, and you add harmonics in the lows with this. So yeah, with this plugin you have everything under control in the low end. You don't need another plugin to control that, and you can solo it to hear only what's happening with the processing of this plugin. Let's use it here on this bass guitar, for instance. Let's put all of the controls by default. It starts to compress here. Let's compress from 120, for instance, and below. You can really use it aggressively. Right, so you lost some low end, of course, because of the compression. It's clamping down, but you compensate with this, but in a much more controlled way. That's what's going on down there. Let's add some harmonics. Let's check it out in context. The low end, it's more filled with the bass, because the bass was very dynamic, and with this plugin you can have it more consistent. So the low end, it's filled with the bass guitar all of the time, not only in some parts, right? And it's not a matter of volume, like you can hear. It's a matter of the bass is more controlled and consistent. Therefore, the perceived loudness increases also. Before, every note, it's heard at the same intensity. And this enhanced control is pretty cool. Let's use it finally on the overall mix, so you can hear also what happens there with the low control. We're gonna control from, let's say, 200 and below. All of the low end of the mix, the kick drum, the low end of the guitars, the bass guitar will be controlled with this very, like in seconds, you can do that. All of that will be controlled. Let's compensate a bit. You can hear the harmonics there. Distortion, right? Saturation. Yeah, since the low end, it's more controlled, it's more consistent, and it's all the time you perceive the same low end. It's not changing all of the time, it's not dynamic, and we are reducing the dynamics of the low end with this. So yeah, pretty cool, my friend. This is the last plugin on the list. If you are here in the chat, let me know what you think of these plugins. I will be very interested to know your opinions. Let me know what you think, if you have a favorite out of these four. Rafael Andrade says, hello, brother. I simply can't manage to authorize Animate. Wow, they should give you the authorization for that. I didn't have a problem. You can contact Bedroom Producer Blog. They have their email on the website to do that. Or send me an email and I can give you the contact of them. Ableton Live Producer, hi, can you recommend a Spectrum plugin so I can visually see the EQ changes I make in real time? Thank you for this review. Sure, Ableton Live Producer, the Span plugin by Voxengo. It's amazing, it's free. You should check it out. It analyzes in real time the audio. It's called Span, S-P-A-N. And lastly, Ban Mr. 94, I was able to get Animate, works great. Awesome. Glad you got it. And Rafael, I hope that you get it as well. Send me an email, bro, and I'll hook you up with contact from them. All right, my friends, before we go, I'd like to invite you quickly to my website, amnorhunter.com, where I have some additional freebies. You can get some free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers and guitar players, such as some free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers. I already mentioned that. And also some tools such as some collections of guitar impulses, a drum sample pack, among other utilities. And finally, don't forget to check out the blog or this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free content. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it very much. I will see you very soon in the next one. All right? Take care.